Deep in a dense forest, hidden from the world, lay a lake shrouded in eternal fog. The villagers of Black Hollow never ventured near its shores, and travelers who loved exploring abandoned places were always warned, stay away from Foggy Lake. It doesn't forgive mistakes. But, as always, rumors only fueled curiosity. That's why four friends, Julia, Mark, Emma, and Tom, decided to spend their weekend there. They were sure that all the stories about people disappearing were just old folks' tales. Arriving at the lake just before sunset, the group set up camp on a clearing near the water. The fog was already creeping along the ground, and the air grew noticeably colder. "This place looks creepy," Emma murmured, pulling her jacket tighter. "Just imagine how many likes our photos will get." Mark grinned as he pulled out his camera. But the photos wouldn't turn out right. The camera refused to focus, and all they captured was a blurry gray mist, even when photographing each other. "Maybe it's the settings," Tom suggested. Pragmatic Julia shrugged it off and suggested they focus on starting a campfire. Soon, the warm glow of the flames lit up the clearing. But as the sun finally disappeared below the horizon, something shifted. The silence was deafening. No nocturnal birds, no rustling leaves, just an eerie ringing in their ears. "Do you hear that?" Emma whispered. "I don't hear anything," Tom replied, looking around. "That's the point," she muttered. The encounter with the fog in the middle of the night, they were woken by a strange sound, like slow, dragging footsteps near their tents. Julia was the first to leap out with a flashlight. Its beam revealed only thick, swirling fog. "Who's there?" she shouted. The fog seemed to come alive, condensing and creeping toward her. The others followed her outside, holding their breath. "Is it the wind?" Mark whispered, but the fog suddenly surged forward, swallowing Julia whole. "Julia!" Tom yelled, running after her. But as he stepped into the fog, he felt his legs sinking into a cold, viscous substance. It was as if the air itself was pulling him back. Emma and Mark stood frozen in fear. A moment later, Tom stumbled out of the fog, his face ghostly pale and his lips trembling. "She was screaming, but she's gone," he stammered. The three remaining friends tried to leave, but their car wouldn't start. Their phones had no signal, and their compasses spun aimlessly. By the second night, the fog had returned. It no longer hid behind the trees but surrounded their camp, leaving only a small circle of safety. Each of them began hearing whispers, familiar voices. Their mothers, their friends, even Julia's voice calling to them. "It's her. I can hear Julia," Emma cried, running into the fog despite the others' protests. Her scream was cut short. The last two, Mark and Tom, decided to wait out the night by the fire. But with every passing minute, their fear deepened. Mark started to believe he couldn't trust Tom, that he would somehow lead the fog to him. Tom, on the other hand, began seeing Mark's shadow growing larger, taking on monstrous, inhuman shapes. When dawn broke through the thick forest, rescue teams sent to find the missing tourists discovered only the cold, silent lake. On the shore were torn tents and scattered backpacks. The legend of Foggy Lake gained a new chapter, but no one ever discovered what had happened to Julia, Emma, Tom, and Mark. A year later, a fisherman on the lake found an old camera. The last photo, strangely clear, showed a dense foggy figure with the faces of all four missing friends. Their eyes stared straight at him.